To the ocean I go, into the ocean I go, to the ocean I go, into the ocean I go, to the ocean I go, into the ocean I go, to the ocean I go, to the ocean I go, the ocean of love, forgiveness and wholeness, the ocean of God, the ocean of love, forgiveness and wholeness, the ocean of God. To the ocean I go, into the ocean I go, to the ocean I go, to the ocean I go, the ocean of love, forgiveness and wholeness, the ocean of God. The ocean of love, forgiveness and wholeness, the ocean of God. To the ocean we go, into the ocean we go, to the ocean we go, into the ocean we go. Jump in the waters and play with the dolphins. Remember your innocence, return to the one. Jump in the waters and play with the children. Remember your innocence, return to the one. Malah, Deah es Hashem, Michasim. Malah, Deah es Hashem, Michasim. The ocean of love, forgiveness and wholeness, the ocean of God. Oh, 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 oh. The ocean of love, forgiveness and wholeness, the ocean of God. To the ocean I go, into the ocean I go, to the ocean I go, into the ocean I go, to the ocean we go, to the ocean we go, to the ocean we go, into the ocean we go. Hello everyone. So this is the day after the Pisces new moon, really powerful eclipse, and I'm inspired to just share some thoughts about this. There's this tendency that we have, and I can identify with this, to perceive places in our life that feel unclear, that don't seem to have resolution, decisions that we have to make, relationships. And we often have this experience that these places, and you know, probably if you're alive, if you're watching this video, if you're here on this earth, you could identify with this. And these places become a point of contraction where our seeking of resolution, our looking for an answer, becomes a point of distress. And we create dis-ease within ourselves and within our relationship to the environment in that moment of seeking resolution. And I know for myself, oftentimes I have the inner thought, I should have this figured out already. That I come to a certain impasse that I've come to many times in my life. And because I haven't been able to see things clearly, I have the thought that I'm not getting it. I've been here before. And oftentimes maybe people are telling us the same thing. We're getting the same message from the world around us. And we might think, I'm not listening, I'm not getting it. It's actually so easy to just kind of have this idea of being lost, of being like almost in this place where I'm doing something wrong, or there's something inherently wrong, or and we all might kind of play with this energy in a different way, but we all experience it. And we all have our own way of telling ourselves that something but love will be the answer. Because love often feels this very intangible thing. It's like, how will love solve this? How will love pay the bills? How will love make this decision? And it's not like this magical fairy comes along and just like cleans everything up for us. It's more that love will bring us to whatever we are needing. Love gives us the information. Love brings us the rendezvous. Love will orchestrate. It's not about this black and white, I don't understand, and then I'll find an answer. That the whole universe is about intimacy, is about connection. It's about unity. And it's through the unity, it's through connection, it's through intimacy, that whatever feels unclear within our hearts will be brought into clarity. And if you think about your life and kind of, where you've been in the past and how things have come into clarity, you might notice that it's never happened the way you thought it would. And this might be in relevant to our own relationship to ourselves and even working with others, professionally or friends, family, the world. We might not have answers. We might feel immense compassion and love. And we may not know how to support the world, support others. We might not know what to say, what to do. We might see suffering. And I think right now with Chiron on the South Node in Pisces, there can be, and the sun is right on that South Node right now, and this eclipse happened right on that point. So there's a very powerful opening happening. And there can be this feeling of numbness, of disconnect because of where things seem so difficult within our lives or relative to others. And we can't try hard enough to save one another or to save ourselves. We can't do enough to help the world. We can't try enough to bring more light into this world. We will only exhaust ourselves. We cannot try so hard and maintain good well-being and health at the same time. This is something that I am learning. And it doesn't matter whether it's about a friend or for yourself. You can't try hard enough to bring health into your life and be healthy. This is not about efforting. And there's something so powerful about saying, I don't know. I don't know how to help you. I don't know how to help me. I don't know how to help the world. And apparently I don't need to know. because if I knew, I would. And since I don't, it must be that this is okay, because love is this transcendent balm that says, oh, this moment must be okay. It's beyond condition. It's our need to be it's the need to protect ourselves from the unknown. It's where we don't trust how powerful love is, that we actually look upon ourselves, we look upon the world and other people, and where we don't have an answer, we'll resort to judgments. Well, I should know better. I should have this figured out, or you should have this figured out, or that person, what they're doing, they're bad, they're evil. You know, and I want to speak just the politicians around today. I deeply disagree with a lot of what they're doing, what they're saying, what they stand for. But when I look at some of them, when I look at Trump, I actually feel love and compassion for him. And I notice an ache inside of myself. And that ache is because I can't deny my oneness with him. I can't deny that we aren't separate. And if I unguard my heart, I find that everyone is at their core of the same single essence. And everyone at their core, who we all truly are, is of the oneness, and we're not separate. And what hurts so much when we see so much self-interest and destruction in the world and in people's thoughts is not what they're doing, but it's the denial of what's true. And to see someone walking a path that only creates more hurt, all the while knowing that they could never be separate. And so the sorrow that we might feel in our own lives is the same sorrow that we feel about the world, because we aren't separate and we're not lost. The biggest teaching, I think, is this faith and this gentleness and compassion that says, I don't have an answer, I don't know, but I'm going to trust that love is enough right now. That love is really more core, more essential than any need to figure out what to do with the world, with myself, with others. Because what love does, love isn't dismissive. Love doesn't say, here, don't bother making, don't make choices, don't deal with these things. It doesn't escape us from the world. Love holds our hand and says, let's look at this. Let's look at the places that are confusing, and let's see how I can help you to bring more clarity. Love, our mind will think that love somehow actually isn't helpful. But its very nature is to be so attentive to the intricacies of our life. It wants to attend to the greatest details. You know, like a loving parent that will patiently, so lovingly, help their child put on clothing, and one sock at a time. And in many ways, this is the polarity between the Virgo and the Pisces axis right now. Because Virgo is really about just doing the work that we're here to do. And whereas in Pisces, we can feel overwhelmed and lost in the ocean of confusion and kind of like, abandoned or Pisces can have this really deep feeling of meaninglessness and emptiness. Whereas Virgo can have this really deep experience of avoiding, constantly distracting oneself by doing anything that will keep the mind away from what it's really called to do, like endless hours of Facebooking or whatever. So, this axis of Virgo and Pisces is really about love coming in and saying, here, do this next thing, because Virgo's all about, we only start where we are now. And it's not about perfection. It's not about having figured all of it out. Jupiter's on the Virgo North Node right now, and it's going to be there for a while. So there's a strong energy here right now about just following our intuition. There's value in being able to take one step with love. One step with love. Even if that next step is, maybe moving away from taking steps and taking a step in the direction of intentionally creating an environment of ease and well-being, making a meal, giving ourselves the gift of enjoying a healthy connection with someone else, singing a song just for the moment. I think Amma once said, and this is not an exact quote, but I love the energy of this quote, that something like life is like a constant song, and we can actually just continue to dance to the music. And I want to share one more thing. Prayer. I'm finding that when we come together to pray, we affect such a huge shift in the environment. And I want to say something which is for our lives, for the lives of the people that we care about, for the whole world. It doesn't matter who we're praying for, because the deeper teaching is that there isn't separation. My well-being is your well-being. And if I ever think that your well-being is in its own vacuum and my well-being is in its own vacuum, it's not true well-being. Our deepest joy really comes when we remember and we start living again with respect to our unity. And so there's so much power and beauty in opening ourselves to feel the gratitude and the prayer and the desire to support the well-being. I was reading this book, I'm not going to pronounce it right, but it's the Wahu Ching. I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but it's the teachings of Lao Tzu that are actually not very well known, because these teachings were banned for a long time until this past century. And these teachings were passed on through oral tradition, which is the only way that they were actually preserved, as I understand it. Lao Tzu wrote the Tao Te Ching, but this is a set of teachings that are actually not so known, and they're a little different. They carry the same transcendent and timeless wisdom. But one thing he was saying is to find your deepest fulfillment. Give yourself to the world. Serve. Seek to benefit the well-being and happiness of all beings. And it's really because we aren't separate from the universe. That's the deeper wisdom and healing that we all get to realize. So as we're on our paths, seeking our wholeness, seeking our path, seeking our journey, seeking our direction, let us remember that we're radically in this together. We are this together. There's not a this to be in. We are it. And so let us remember that uniting our love and our hearts with one another, with the environment, with the people, with wherever we are, and giving ourselves the permission to stay simple, on caring for ourselves and for one another. That's the way. And may this simple way profoundly open us and show us everything that we need. May all of our needs be met on every level. And may the needs of all the people in this world and everyone that we care about be met through our choice to live in love. Because we cannot do enough to save ourselves or the world. It's really our being love. It's our being in vibration and vibrational awareness and attunement to who we truly are. Living our greatest joy. You know, Pisces has a lot to do on one level with martyrdom. It's an old paradigm. We're moving beyond that, thankfully, and we're collectively really starting to understand that our greatest contribution is our well-being. So I'll leave it at that. And I look so forward to continuing this journey. Much love to you all.